family, basically. So Noah, right now today, we have about close to 400 breeds of domestic dogs. But Noah did not have to take 400 pairs of dogs on the ark, okay? That's just ridiculous. Most of those breeds didn't even exist when Noah was taking animals on the ark. Okay, those have just come about in about the last 500 years. Most of these breeds have only been around for a short period of time. Again, they're just variations within the dog family. So Noah only took 2 dogs on the ark, and from those 2 dogs, after they came off the ark, they multiplied and reproduced till eventually we got lots of dogs. Okay, today. And they come in many different shapes and sizes, but they're all dogs, right? We've got jackals and foxes and the bush dog and the wolf and the coyote and your favorite domestic dog breed. Now, some people say, whoa, wait a minute. You're saying there was just 2 dogs and we get all the dogs we have today. I say, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they say, but that's a lot of change in a very short period of time. It's just a few thousand years ago. I say, well, true. But let's think about this for a minute, okay? There's only about 35 dog species in the world, okay? You realize all these dogs that I'm showing you up here and the wolf all belong to the same species. They're all Canis lupus, okay? They're just different breeds of dogs. And there's a lot of variety among the breeds, right? I mean, you've got Great Danes. Well, I'm not that tall, but you've got Great Danes and you've got Chihuahuas, right? I mean, they look pretty different, don't they? Now, how is that possible? They descended from the wolf, okay, through people selecting for certain traits, okay, and they keep breeding them back and breeding them back and breeding them back and getting dogs that eventually just keep producing dogs that look like Chihuahuas or bulldogs or whatever it may be. That's through people selecting and making those choices. People have been able to do that. In 500 years, we've gotten about 400 breeds of dogs. Whoa. Okay, so what can happen in a few thousand years? Certainly you can get 35 species in a few thousand. I mean, that's a lot more time. And that's through nature and other mechanisms at work, not people selecting, but natural mechanisms that cause that to happen. So it's very, very reasonable. If we can produce a few hundred breeds, certainly nature can produce a few, dozen breeds or species in a few thousand years. So it's really not all that unbelievable. God has created these animals with an amazing amount of genetic diversity. And you should feel sorry for the bulldog there too. I might mention, just read a paper recently, that breed is probably going to die out in our lifetimes. It won't be around anymore. We have bred it to the point that the poor dog cannot breathe anymore. It's too much. It's gotten too short of a snout and it can't even breathe. So anyways, that's just what happens. Those breeds become so purebred that it can be bad for them. Now, back when we knew we were going to build Ark Encounter, when we first knew this was going to become a reality, myself as well as several other scientists had to get together and do a lot of research and figure out what is a reasonable estimate of number of animals for the Ark. And knowing that he took 2 of every kind and 7 pairs of some, okay, so we had to look at what then of all of the animals that are alive today and all of the animals we only know from the fossil record, okay, and take all of those and put them into their kinds, their original kinds. Whew, that's a big job, all right? And so many scientists were involved, and they published their papers in what's called Answers Research Journal, which is an online journal through the Answers in Genesis website. Anyone can go there and look at those articles, but I'm going to give you a summary of those. They are pretty fascinating to read. But as far as mammals go, there's about close to 550 kinds, birds, almost 300 kinds, reptiles, a little over 300 kinds, and then amphibians, about 250 kinds, which gives us a grand total of almost 1,400 kinds or 7,000 animals. Okay, so that's all that was needed on the Ark. Again, if you're taking at the family level or the kind level, there's really not as many. Now, whatever you do, don't take those kind numbers and multiply by 2. Because remember, Noah had to take 7 pairs of some, the clean animals and the winged creatures. So that's why you end up with a lot of birds.
God was a smart cookie. Not only was 7 of each supply of animals instead of just 1 pair for eating, and the Bible clean meant animals for people to eat, would supply them with food when the water drained and they landed, but also during the trip. On the Ark, 150 days, plus the days it took for there enough land to be exposed to settle on. So there would have been young born to them to add to the food supply. And when the babies are old enough to replace adults, you could pick from the best of them and then use the adult for more food. And Noah and his family would have had the skills to prepare and preserve the meat to add to their food supply. And the extra pairs of birds would have helped make sure the carnivores would have a food supply in the New World when flood waters receded.
Now, what animal, though, do you think I get asked most about when it comes to the ark? Unicorns. I like that one. Yep, that's one too. That was probably a rhinoceros, though. But dinosaurs, okay, by far are the thing that people want to know about the most. Were dinosaurs on the ark? And I say, of course they were, okay, because what does the Bible say? Of every living thing of all flesh, animals after their kind will come to you to keep them alive. Well, that includes the dinosaurs. You know, we know about them from the fossil record. They were real animals, living animals at some point. Now, there's lots of other animals that are also in the fossil record, okay? We get so excited about dinosaurs, we tend to forget that there was a lot of mammalian species that we know, or kinds that we no longer have around today. We try to show some of those at the ark so people understand it's not just dinosaurs in the fossil record. It's lots of other animals that no longer exist either. Now, there's plenty of room for them on the ark, okay? I think we get taken in by things like Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, and we get this idea that all dinosaurs are like enormous, okay, and scary. The fact is, though, the average size of a dinosaur is like buffalo size, okay? So think large cow, right? That's the average size of a dinosaur. Some of them are very big, some of them are very small. Most of them are just right in the middle there. So not a problem. There's plenty of room on the ark for that. Noah would have taken juvenile, or God would have brought to him juvenile dinosaurs. Okay, again, they're going to have the longest reproductive life after the flood, so that just makes sense. Noah was not trying to do this, okay? Just saying that sauropod's going to have a hard time fitting through that door. Now, once he got in, he'd be okay, he'd fit, but still getting through might be an issue. So Noah's going to take the young ones, right? Everything starts out small, including dinosaurs. The largest dinosaur eggs are like the size of a football, so it's not going to be a problem to fit them on the ark. Now, the next question people ask is, okay, well, what did T-Rex eat? Because they're thinking he's going to eat all the other animals on the ark. And so I think there's two possibilities. The one I tend to think of the most is that they were vegetarian, that these dinosaurs were vegetarian for at least a period of time. There are meat eaters today, supposed meat eaters, that refuse meat. There are tigers and lions that have done that. They just won't eat it. They will only eat fruits and veggies. So it is possible, and we're talking survival. We're not talking what they would preference or what they would normally eat. So I think they could do that. The other possibility is that he just took dried meat for the carnivorous dinosaurs, so they could still have that to some degree. There's only about 60 to 80 dinosaur kinds or families, so you're not talking that many dinosaurs. It's actually a small minority of the animals on the ark, less than 200 total. So we do show a few of those at the ark, like the Stegosaurus kind and then the sauropod kind. Now, again, these guys are going to grow up to be some of the biggest land animals on the planet, but they start out really small.